Hi friends, welcome to the next installation of Studio Talk. Today I want to talk to you about making a coin quilt or strippy quilt, however you want to call it. This is a pattern that I use often and it uses a lot of scraps. It's a quick quilt and pretty improv if you want it to be, and I get a lot of good vibes out of it when I use up miscellaneous pieces. This quilt is really miscellaneous. So hang tight.
There are various ways to make the strips, the coin strips. One of the ways that I use is to piece my scraps onto a length of background or foundation. And I bought this roll of sheeting about 10 years ago. It was twice this size, and I've used obviously quite a bit of it at a thrift store. Whenever I see something like this, I think, hey, that could work out pretty well. So I've been whittling it down since then. The first step, if you decide to use the background, of course, is to cut it the width and length that you want for your panel. And then you put your first fabric down right side up, and then your second fabric just goes right down on top of it. I'm holding my phone and doing this at the same time, so a little tricky. Okay, so then you sew your seam allowance along here, right here, and 1/4 of an inch, 3/8, half an inch, whatever, and then you press it, turn it right side out, and then you press that seam. Continue on down the line until you exhaust the length or all your scraps. So basically you'll be at it forever. Just joking. Okay, so I asked one of my friends if she would sew a bunch of strips for me, which she did, and I now have those up on the wall, on my design wall. So when I got the strips back from my friend Angela, I had planned to make these into table runners, but I discovered that table runners, patchwork table runners, aren't as popular at the art markets as I thought they would be, and so they just kind of hit the UFO box. Well, when I started this project for the Angel Tree Kids, I thought, let me go through my unfinished projects, see what I can use, and I pulled these out because a lot of the work's already been done. As table runners, I like the middle of my runners to be plain so that if somebody has an arrangement, it's not covering the patchwork. So that's why these have such wide middles on them. But as a quilt, I don't like that really wide middle. So my plan is to cut that in half. I showed up at one of the recent stitching group meetings, and one of my friends said that she had some scraps she was just sick and tired of, and did I want them? I said, yeah, hey, why don't we exchange scraps? So the next meeting I took in a little grocery bag of scraps, and she brought me 2 boxes. so yeah. Since my motto is, never say no to fabric, I brought them home. And one of the scraps is this cute little vintage styled yellow print. And there were 3 strips of it, and they looked like they were kind of the right length, and 2 of them were wide and 1 of them was narrow. And so, hey, to me, that's a formula for the borders or strips of this, or panels of this coins quilt. So my 2 outside and my middle. Also included in the scrap bag was this funky little 80s print right here, and I love funky little prints, so I think that will be great to break up those large middle panels. And there we go. It looks great against that tan. So I may have enough to piecing those together for the length And now we have the middle, very middle of the quilt with this little narrow yellow. And the bag also had some yellow and blue prints. So these are some of the prints, the little yellow and blue prints that I think I can use for the middle section. It's not going to be very wide. I want to keep this reasonable. I am planning to make this quilt a little bit longer because I'm hoping that it will go to probably a junior high age or older elementary person, and they may be a little bit taller. The print, this little print that I'm showing you, was also in there. There's not a lot of it, but I definitely want to use all of it. These quilts are going to kids who have a parent who's incarcerated, and I don't know how you all feel about it, but I think a little subtle encouragement never hurt anybody. So this is a great little print. And then here's one of the blankets that I generally buy. They're very crappy. They are nubby, which is why I get them for $1 or $1.50 or $2. And they go in the middle of the quilts as batting, and they quilt up really nicely. So I try, when I buy these, most of the time they are dark colors, or they have this print that often will show through, so I'm trying to make tops and backs that are a little bit darker. So this one will work really well. The backing that I have for this one is dark. This is the backing. I'm trying to act like it's not a Christmas print, that is just angels and stars, but it is dark, so it'll cover the, this print really well. So the next step is for me to cut the panels apart and add the inserts to them, and then I'll be back to show you what it looks like. Okay, well, I'm back now with the finished quilt top. It was pretty quick to get all the middle panels and the borders on. As you can see, I ended up not using the little funky print or the little scientist girl print. I'll save those for another quilt. Let me see if I can back up so you can see all of this quilt. It turned out great, as scrap quilts go. There you go. So because I had I'm pinning this to my curtain, which is my sliding glass door, and it has a lot of light that comes in, so when the curtains are up and it's pinned, not as much light is coming in. So anyway, when I put the borders on, I could tell that I wanted something that was going to carry that yellow across the surface. So I went through the little yellow strips that my friend Kathleen had given me, and there were enough to use down the middle of those wider panels and give it a little bit more cohesive look. With so many scraps, I felt like the funky print just turned out to be a little bit too funky, too much print. And then there was a nice orangey yellow print that I could use for the bottom border, and then I pieced a couple of pieces together for the top border. So it's a little lopsided on one side with navy blue versus the beige on the right hand side, but you know what, as a scrap quilt, I think it's a great little quilt, and it ended up turning out to be about 45 by 60, so I'm just going to go with it at that size and try to get it quilted up here pretty quick. Alright, if you are interested in some coin quilts, I do have a Pinterest board full of coin quilts. It's a favorite, like I said before. I'll put that on my blog, and if you would like to share some pictures of your own coin quilts, you're welcome to email those to me. My email is Debra L. Dixon @yahoo.com, and I'll publish those. And I will also publish some pictures of some of my own coin quilts that I've made through the years. So thanks for stopping in and hanging with me. I'll see you around next time. Bye-bye.